Hello and welcome to Inside Out, the show that brings you closer to your favorite media personalities and their walk in life. My name is Mpumi Mpama and this is Inside Out, where we help you deal with serious issues like depression from the inside out. My guest joining me today has been on our screens from his early childhood. He has been a child star, but didn't only end there. He has made his footprint in acting, presenting, hosting, to mention but a few. What are the challenges that child stars face, you may ask, for them to grow from being young to being matured in their craft into their adulthood? He takes us through the journey. My next guest is none other than Mr. Siphiwe Mtshali, who has been on Yo TV at his early age, presented Jam Early, been on Generations, on Rhythm City for 10 years, and so on and so on. He's got a big profile. So he'll be sharing his ups and downs with us, his highs and lows, and his epic moments in the industry. My name is Mpumi Mpama. Stay with us as we chat with your favorite star on Galaxy Universal Network on Channel 500. On Starset. Welcome back. This is Inside Out, and with me is Siphiwe Mtshali. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for
Now, just before we continue, though, please note that later on the show, we'll be asking some questions, and two lucky viewers will stand a chance to win airtime for themselves. So just make sure you stay tuned. Mr. Mtshali,
Bah.
most people think they know media personalities because of the kind of information that they get from social media platforms and from news articles and all of that. And sometimes it's misconceptions.
True.
Can you tell us who you really are?
Yeah. No. Siphiwe Mtshali.
Yeah.
I'm a child of a bishop.
Yes.
I was born in Soweto, but then I grew up in Newcastle.
Okay.
Had to come back. I had to come back this side because otherwise, when we were living this side, there was a problem. We were living in a shack at the time.
Yes.
So my parents had a couple of us. So
Okay.
and it would flood and stuff.
Yeah.
So we had to move to Newcastle.
Yes.
And so I came back when I was about 12, and then that's when everything started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you came back, and when you came back when you were 12,
Yeah.
you got introduced to TV.
Yeah.
And that's where it started.
Yeah, that's where things started. I think even when I was staying with my grandmother in Newcastle, okay. It was that whole thing of, I knew there was something I needed to do more.
Okay. Okay.
And when I came back, the first thing I would say to my parents is, I want to be there.
Okay.
And I would point at that TV, and
Okay.
my dad is like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just kept saying no.
Yeah.
And my mother tells that story very well because I really don't remember, but she always says, hey, this young man, he came back from Newcastle and all he was pointing at was the TV.
Wow.
And a year later it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But tell me something, though. You just mentioned that you're a child of a bishop.
Yeah.
Mostly parents don't encourage, especially when you from
Yeah.
a church setup and those kind of things, they don't really encourage people to go into this industry because of what has been seen that is happening and the scandals and this and that and
Yep.
that. Did they encourage you at some point, or you said, I want to do this?
You know, they didn't. But because what happened was when I came back, I would always go to the community theatre.
I see.
I did Campo dance, I did. So they were happy that after school I was doing something.
I see.
They didn't really understand what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Like my father didn't really go to school. So there was those things of, it's extramural activities, whatever that means. He's doing it. Let him do it.
Yeah.
And it was, I was at a community hall every day after school, and I made sure that that's what I wanted to do, and I did community theatre. I didn't know what it was at the time.
Yes.
I just knew that I'm in the arts. I want to do arts.
Yes.
I did music. I was the choir conductor. I was the lead of the choir. The girls started dating, so they didn't want to be in the choir, so I did my own boys' choir. It was, I just wanted wanted to entertain people.
Okay. Yeah. Take us through the journey in this industry.
Whoa.
You're no stranger to the screen.
It's fun.
I mean, from the days of Yo TV and all.
Yeah,
take us through that journey.
Yeah, that was.
You were 12 years when you came this side.
I was 12 when I came. I joined the Soyikwa group then.
Okay.
And I just did a whole lot of artwork, and then I read a lot because I was a bit of a loner now and then, and I found out there was a TV agent that wanted to do screen tests, and I thought, you know what, I wanted to go there, and I asked for money to take a taxi to go there, and my mother's like, what do you know about Orange Grove? You're going to get lost. But eventually she just gave me the money to say, just go. I got there, I did my screen test, and they said, you're very good, but the problem is your English. And you must remember, this is like 1994, and I think it was 94 when I went to television, when I started. And it was, I think I was 13 then. And they wanted people who could speak English.
I see.
Because TV was new. And the kids, there were those Model C kids who were there, and who were coming straight from the location. And I remember when I eventually got that Yo TV gig, it was because this white lady said, no, but he's good. I know we're going to have a problem, we'll struggle with English. It was those days where we used to say we need peace in our land.
Yes.
And I couldn't say it properly. I used to say the other, which is for peeing, which I can't say now.
I get you.
And they were like, no, it's peace. And I couldn't say things. There was a thing which I'll never forget. They wanted me to say, I had to do 27 takes of that. Because I just couldn't get it right. But that lady said, I want him to say it. And the word was supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It means nothing. It's just a big word. It's just those days, that's what they wanted. The television had to be for kids. We're kids.
Yes. I remember Yo TV.
And that English that the other kids spoke, I just couldn't speak it.
So, if I may just interject on that. So it was the skill and the talent that you got that attracted you to them. So it wasn't really about the English.
It wasn't about, that's what they said to me. It wasn't about, they were like, this English thing, he will get it. I mean, it was going to be with the kids. And eventually, I mean, when I started getting paid, I couldn't go to multiracial schools because I had to pay for my brothers for school. Because remember, I'm old now. I'm the oldest one, and I've got brothers that I have to put through school. So it wouldn't be fair to take the money and take just myself to multiracial schools. So it was a sad thing because people would think in the location that it's fun to be me, but every time I go to work, people laugh at me because of the English. And eventually, because I wanted it so badly, I mean, I made friends with Byron Taylor then, who would pick me up and take me to his house on every Friday to Sunday to learn the English. I remember one time I got hit by the door, and I'm like, this pain is paining. And Byron's mother is chasing me saying, excruciating. I'm like, no, it's paining. No, you say excruciate. Hey, man. And I think after that, the lady who was my agent then, Sharon Prangley, took me to be like her child, so I could learn that English. So I pushed on that English. And but what was great was that I could speak African languages. And I could, now what was happening was then, the government wanted us to speak more of our African languages. I could kill it in Zulu.
Yeah, you could.
So that was the journey. From there, I think I never looked back.
Siphiwe, for that kid that is in the rural areas right now, because you see, there's this problem that we are facing. All the opportunities and all those things that seem to be available for the kids are here in the rural areas, and they're not really going to the they're here in the urban areas. They don't go to the rural areas. But you came from there, and you are an example that they can make it as well.
True. I believe that it doesn't matter where you are. when that time comes, it's just that you're right. It's a bit. It takes forever. I would have liked it if I'd gotten on television quicker, but that wasn't the time. When your time comes, it doesn't matter where you are. You will get there.
Any plans of taking what you have achieved back to the rural areas?
Yes, actually. Funny enough, there's a project we're busy with. On Izigi Media, is called Grooming the Boys, which is something that we want to do for boys around the country and hopefully around the continent. In terms of finding not just talent, but finding the kids that have the special talent, whether it be in business, whether it be in accounting, whether it be in anything, but they're just stuck in a place where they can't get out and and be groomed, so that the boys are not just called hashtag men are trash because of that. Like I think it depresses you as a young man when you really want to do so much for yourself or for other people, and you are just stuck because of the boundaries of the place that you live in.
So you want to deal with them in their own special spaces and groom them from there. So in other words, you're breaking this of saying that you must be a doctor, you must be this, you must be there.
I think that's where, you see, at first, like you said about my father, at first he didn't understand, but my mother was the one who gave me the money for the taxi to go and find out exactly what it was about. But because I was lucky enough that my TV job started paying at a young age, my father was like, oh, that's my boy. You see, and I was like, no, go for it. So you understand that I think that for other young people as such as myself who have the talent in anything, they just need to be groomed enough to know that it is possible. Because, you know, they will say to you that, why would you want to do your computers? We don't have computers. Why would you want to carry on with maths and science when we don't have money to take you to university? People always tell you about obstacles in life. They don't tell you how you can make it.
Siphiwe, tell me something. Were you one of those kids that when there's family gatherings and all, you're the one that is entertaining the whole family? You're at the center stage?
I still am. But the funny thing is my son, my last born, has taken over. He's just... I don't know that boy.
Like father, like son.
It's just, I think it was that. And I think that I knew, that's why I always say I knew. I mean, there was a show that I did which was called Jam Alley. I played Jam Alley before I was on Jam Alley.
Yes.
I used to play that with the kids just in general. And ended up on it. So it's
Okay.
Was that thing.
We're going to go on a commercial break right now. And when we come back, we will continue with Mr. Siphiwe Mtshali. Join us after the break. Welcome back. You are joining us here at Inside Out. I'm with Mr. Siphiwe Mtshali, and we're going through his journey in the media industry. Now, tell me something. When you got your first break, how did it feel like? I know you told us about the Yo TV, and they were teaching you this and that, and they were focusing on your talent and everything. But just take us through the journey of how you felt like. I can imagine you're coming from the rural areas, and you've been pointing at that TV, and you know, now it's real, it's here. How did it feel?
Hey, no, it was unreal. It was unreal. I think I didn't understand how big that medium was at first. I had always had to live by some perception because I'm a child of a bishop. I must live this way.
Yes.
Then now I'm on TV. Now everyone has a perception about you. Now you have to, at first as a kid, I'll tell you, it was amazing. I mean, because I'd be at school, then I'd be picked up from school. I'd have to take a taxi at first before and go shoot your TV. And it felt like a job until people were appreciating it.
Yes.
And then it didn't, it didn't feel like a job anymore. It was just something that I loved doing. But I really, the feeling was amazing. It's just that it was very sad and lonely at times. And I'll get to that.
Yeah. But now, you're getting all the attention now at school at that age.
Yeah.
And they see you on TV and you go to school and you walk in the mall and you get all that attention. Did it somehow disturb you, or did it uplift you in a positive way?
At first it did, but you're a teenager, you're growing. There were those things that I couldn't handle at malls in terms of when the acne stage started and people would look at you and on TV you've got this makeup on and then they see you. Ooh, it's got pimples.
Yeah.
And you were never taught how to deal with that.
Yes.
When we got into this industry, and we were one of the first people to get, one of the first kids to be in this industry. So it was really exciting when it was exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, at school you had the girls wanting to be with you, the guys wanting to be you. So it was really exciting at first.
Did you think years later you'll be here, still in the industry?
I think because I believe in God, somehow I knew, but I didn't know. I'll tell you why. I never had a plan of doing something else.
I see.
You see, so which is what now I tell people to must have another plan. But because I didn't think that I was ever going to do something else. I saw myself doing this. So I think subconsciously I must have known.
Yeah. Let's talk about the challenges that you met along the way. What are some of those challenges?
Yeah. Hey. I wonder when you get to that's the deep part that I think is the sad thing.
Yeah,
it gets you get so much attention, but then you are so lonely.
Yeah,
you are not alone, but you're so lonely inside because you
you
can tell that these people around you are not about you.
Okay,
they're about what you represent or how you can get them to places for free. And you can be smiling around a crowd.
Yes,
but inside. You are so empty. You're so sad. And I think I didn't understand that. I was never given the tools to deal with that. It was something totally strange, where you can tell that this person really doesn't. When you want to talk about something serious with this person, like man, let's do this. It was never about you, and you start losing the real friends that you've had because they can't compete with the fake friends that are coming.
Siphiwe, I want to go deeper in this. But I'm going to go on a commercial break. And when we come back, we go deeper. So I want you to stay tuned and we'll go deeper. Welcome back. This is Inside Out, and we're still continuing with our chat here with Mr. Siphiwe Mtshali. Before the break, you told us that you met these challenges of, it's like you were in your own little world or big world, but away from yourself. There are these people around you who sometimes pretend as if they appreciate you, but they somehow appreciate the character, if I may put it that way. But when it comes to you personally, no one goes into the space. Please tell us more about that.
Yeah, look, it happened so much, especially around about the time when I was about to do my standard 9 matric.
Yeah,
I think that's when things were very hectic, because then there was the schoolwork is getting hectic.
Yeah,
and the cool Siphiwe that's supposed to be on the street he has that life, and then and then the friends at school, you've got those real ones that you're running away from, because they'll tell you the truth.
Yeah, they'll tell you the truth.
And the fake ones, they make you do stupid things, and you think that's the cool thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very disturbing for a young man trying to find himself at the time, because you're a teenager, you're 16, 17. You know your body's changing.
Yes.
And everything in your life is happening in the public, but you are so. I don't think I can explain enough how lonely it is when that is happening. Yeah. And there's no, you're scared that when you share, because every time you share something, you see, you get that false, you fall into a false sense of brotherhood or sisterhood, if I may call it. And you tell someone something so serious about yourself, and next thing you hear it's in the corridors. Yes. And that's just
if not in the newspapers.
This is before, the worst thing was the newspapers, because then in my time, thank God there were no, there was no social media then. It gets worse later when the social media comes, but it was just, you couldn't talk to anyone, especially at school. You couldn't talk to anyone without hearing about it in the corridors, which was a problem. So you have got to put on this brave face, and inside you are falling apart.
Sure. So in falling apart, you had to wear a mask.
Yeah, a lot.
That mask that says, I'm fine. I'm going to take you through what we've heard as growing up as men.
Yep.
Were those one of the things that you tried to instill in your life to help you put that mask on?
You had to.
Yeah.
You had to, because also now you must remember that I was still dealing with the whole difference between coming. There was this thing of people going to suburbs now, and I was still staying in the location. Now we're dealing with that. You're dealing with the fact that there's these cool sneakers that you need to buy, but I can't afford to spend so much, because I have to help the whole family.
Of course.
I'm coming from this different background, and you've got these kids that look at you that, oh, you're from Deep Kloof, and Deep Kloof had these phases, phase 1, 2, and 3, which is what now they call it Deep Kloof. It was Deep Kloof Extension, not called Deep Kloof Expensive. And when they find out that you're not from that part, they because you're on TV, they have to find something that will break you down. Oh, but no, man, he's from that part of Deep Kloof.
Yes.
It was a lot to deal with.
So
now you must understand that now I'm sitting with being a bishop's son, being on television, being from the poor side of Deep Kloof. And it was just, I think you don't know what you're going through because you don't know what to call it. But I think that's when depression really starts.
Okay. Did at any point, did you break down at any point when you were facing the situation where you had to be real to yourself and you had to try to please these guys that are around you, and you're also careful for the media or you know, the corridors that your stuff doesn't go out there? Did you at some point in your secret corner break down?
I think as a teenager it was I tried to deal with it until I think I turned 21 when I started now. There was a time where I would say it was my peak. I was doing 3 shows at once. I was doing a magazine show, which was Jam Alley. I was doing a drama, which was Cha-Cha. I was doing a soapy, which was Generations. Now, at that time, I just moved out. I moved out of home. Now I'm alone. Now I'm this young man. And you have so much work to do. You have to be cool on the side. You've got these women problems. But when you go back to the flat, you're alone. And the girls that you think you have, you don't have.
Yeah.
And then the money is not enough, and then because you've got a support home.
Yeah.
And then it hits you. That why me? Why do my problems have to be known by the world? I mean, I remember there were stories that came out in the newspaper about me, which were on front pages.
Yeah.
About something which I was said to have been doing.
Okay.
Let me just be straight up. There was a story that came out that apparently I was having sex in the car.
Oh.
And there were pictures. I had dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Which here there's Pelidela, so it looked like it was me. It really wasn't me. And when to show I was on Jamila, so I was a youth icon, so I was supposed to not be seen doing that.
Of course, yeah.
But when they found out that it actually, when the channel and the production company realized that it wasn't me, there was a station back then called YFM.
Yeah.
They tried to get the journalist to prove that it was me.
Yeah.
And they realized, people found out that it wasn't me. So the station went and fought for me. We tried to sue the papers, but we didn't want money. We wanted a front page apology.
Yes.
And I couldn't win that case because they said that once they give us the front page apology, it will question the credibility of the newspaper.
Yeah.
And at work they said, no, listen, because we know that it wasn't you, we'll let you work anyway.
Okay.
But out there, people looked at me as that loose cannon.
Yeah.
And at some point, I did break. I did, at some point, become that loose cannon.
Yeah.
And I think I was so depressed that the only way that I was able to deal with myself was because I cried. I think I cried a lot. And there were those suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be the peak of my life. But it was, for me inside, it was the downfall of my life. But every day I had to wake up and be on these 3 shows and look the part.
Yeah.
It's the most difficult thing to go through.
But when you went through that, did someone reach out to you and say, look, I can help? Or were you completely alone in that space?
There was, look, I'd say, I mean, I think my mother has always been there, but I couldn't go home like you say. That but I could cry in front of Uma.
Yeah.
But I think I had surrounded myself, or people, I don't know how to put it, I was surrounded by so much fakeness that even when I wanted to reach out, or if somebody would try to reach out, I didn't believe them.
Of course.
I didn't believe them.
Yeah.
It was, I think it was it was hardest hit at the time.
Do you think though the challenges that we are facing in this industry also added to the struggles that you were going through?
They do. They add a lot. You know, I see with agents, I always think that I say agents because I came in through an agent. I think they don't tell us, or they don't tell you what to expect once you get into that space. First of all, I was very young. I didn't know anything.
Yes, of course.
But even when you walk into this industry when you're older, you still have enough problems that you're coming from.
Yeah.
And then now there's this that you're not even warned about.
Yeah.
So I never got the chance to go to school for it. And even I don't know if there's a syllabus for those ones who go to school for this industry. If there's a syllabus that teaches you about how to deal with this, because this is the most.
There isn't.
There isn't. There isn't. You see, so I think nobody tells you about the difficulties that you're going to face, the fakeness, the fake smiles, and people forgetting that you're human. You have a heart. I mean, I would say I had to go through this. I mean, I didn't know what depression was. All I knew is that I'm sad.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I checked the stats recently on this depression, that 264 million people around the world are dealing with this depression, and in this country, there's 20% of men in general are gonna be dealing with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if I knew that then, I don't know, maybe it would have helped me somehow.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was alone and surrounded by people who are not, I think that's I think people that come to the people to our lives because we're on television, they need to remember that we're human beings.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Exactly.
We might play a certain character, you might be presenting something. We're not all rich, we're not all supposed to be in Lamborghinis.
Yeah. We
don't all know everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is inyama, it hurts.
Yeah.
I think the newspapers at some point dealt with me to a point where I was scared of coming out on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Sure. I didn't know what was going to be said about me.
Yeah.
No.
No, I get what you're saying. Do you think that it's going to change anytime soon? What is the pressures and the challenges that we are facing in the industry? Because they add to what we are already going through. I mean, when you go through what you're going through, you don't really need something external to put more pressure in it. But do you think it's going to change anytime soon?
I don't know if I can say it's going to change, especially with the added pressure of social media.
Yeah.
I think people can. I think we need to. You see, with this depression thing, I think it's emotions, and you don't go past emotions, you go through them.
Okay.
So I think it's just finding a way of going through these emotions, because when you think this change, it might change now because maybe you've outgrown it, or maybe you know how to deal with it now, but then you find that as you get to a different stage, then it gets worse.
Yeah.
So I would really say that it's about how you go through the emotions, because they'll be there.
Yeah.
And with this added pressure of social media.
Yeah.
I'm sort of glad that it came when I was a bit older. I don't know. I worry for my sons now. I worry for my sons because they even right now at school you'd find that because they are my children, they want to be pushed to something.
Yeah.
So
the pressure that they will be going through now as your children, how do you protect them from that? Because I'll tell you why. There's children that suffer because of the certain identity that the parent has. When they look at your children, do they identify you in them? Or they have their own different personalities that help them out?
I think my boys, I have 5 children.
Yeah.
All of them have different personas, and it's the most weirdest thing, most beautiful thing to look at as a parent. But I think that what happens when I'm with them and people are asking for photos, and there's the last one who's always like, they're gonna ask for a picture, and there's those ones, and then there's my firstborn one who'll be like, oh, not pictures again. but I think the fact that I'm proud to show them in the world, they like that.
Okay.
But I worry about, because I've looked at, you see, there's one thing that's been happening now that has got me worried. I don't know how other parents look at it.
Yeah.
The depression that's been happening to the children.
Yeah.
Because of being in the house.
Yes.
Usually we take these kids to school.
Okay.
Half the time they're with their peers. But now I'm at home, my wife's at home, the boys are at home, and the boys don't want to be at home. So that already gives them this whole sense of, I don't know whether they're sad or if you want to call it, that depression of being locked in. And then there's that thing of living where we live, like, we live close to other people.
Yeah.
And then there's that thing of, oh, so Siphiwe's children are not going to come out.
Of course.
But you're trying to save them from the coronavirus. It's got nothing to do with my children or not. I think every parent should be. Yeah. So I think whether they're going to go through it, whether they like it or not. It's just me as a father, mother, trying to find a way of talking to them to say, look, this is what's going to happen. And I'm trying to find a way of not saying, just be strong, but I think
we'll try to avoid that, because it didn't work for you.
That's one thing that did not work for me. So I make sure I run away from saying ibana madota. But I think because we're raising them in a manner of saying, look, you must talk about this.
Talk about it.
You must cry when you want to cry. And if we're here to listen, and if you don't want to talk, go into your room, but keep us posted. Let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think we talk to our children as much as we can.
Men don't cry. Do you agree with that?
It's the worst. I don't know who came up with that thing. That is the worst thing. I think my father was like that.
Okay.
I think for the longest time, my father had never even told me that he loves me. But as soon as I went through that first phase of depression, and I started realizing that this is what's going on. I'm sad because of 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I know. I'd go home and my father first thing would say is, I feel meaning no more hunger now. My son is here. And I was like, just ask me how I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, I came here, and my dad. Church, everybody. Baba Mtshali. With us, he just expects us to just be, And I realized he's just a man, he's a human being. But the fact that he grew up with he grew up with all those things. But now I've taught my father to say, Daddy, I love you. That's important. And that's one thing that I always make sure that my sons know, that I love you boys. And boys, they can come back and say, Daddy, we love you. This is what's happening. This is what's going on.
Okay.
It starts with that. When the kids know there's love at home.
Yes.
I think because we can't really eradicate depression.
Yeah.
You know? But we can be positive. We can try and stay positive.
Okay.
And let these boys know that they are loved. And let them know that this is your sister, this is your mother, this is your aunt. You don't treat them like that.
Yeah.
And also, I think the whole thing of us men being told that we can do all the super things and the women can't. I think that's why we get so depressed and be quiet about it.
Yeah.
Because when you talk usis, like now, it just took me back. I'm realizing that I've been through so much that I never spoke about, because not all of us can go to psychologists and psychiatrists for this. Yeah. So instead we run, we drink a lot. You have as many girlfriends as you can, so that you can. I think sometimes you're scared to share with your wife, because you're scared of, if she knows my so-called weakness, how is she supposed to be
She's
strong?
going to regard you differently.
Exactly, because we're supposed to be the leaders of the home.
Yeah.
I'm just human.
Can I ask you on this? When you just agreed with me that, or disagreed on the statement that says men don't cry.
No,
when you cried, did you feel some form of relief, or did you feel less of a man when that happened?
When I cried by myself, I really feel relieved.
Okay.
And then there's those tears that you have to hold back, like what I'm doing here now.
But why? Why? That's the question. You see, that's the holding back that we're talking about. That the holding back is the one that, I'll tell you something. One of the remedies or therapies in depression is talk therapy. You know, when one talks about it, you get a relief. And once one gets that relief, you don't want to hold it back, because you're bottling yourself up. So in those instances when you cried, you just said that you felt some relief in your private space, but in a public space, you would hold it back. Is that now doing it for the public, or just trying to maintain some composure?
I wish I could answer you there. It's just that, I think, like I tell you, certain things you grow up with them, because they've been drummed to you for so long. But I think that it helps to have a partner like the wife that I have, because I know that I can cry in front of her, and I can just let it go. It helps. So I believe that talking about it really helps. And crying about it really helps, because you're accepting that this thing is really heavy on me. This thing is a burden. But I have to let this burden go. You see, for you to deal with anything, there's always, of course, there'll be denial at first. But once you, you feel guilty about, why am I feeling so weak as a man? I'm supposed to be a man, no? So there's this first that denial that I'm not sad, I'm not afraid, I'm not. And then you reach that stage of, okay, now that I'm accepting, I'm guilty. I'm feeling guilt that I'm accepting the fact that it's defeat. Because depression, defeat somehow. You feel like the fact that you start having those suicidal thoughts. You start thinking, because all you see is I'm done. You don't see the lights after dawn. Because at dawn it gets very dark. And you don't see the lights at the end of the tunnel, and you just see that's it. I've had those stages, and I think that's when one should let go and let somebody really help. How did you get through the tunnel? Because I'm sure you saw the light somewhere. When you didn't see the light, what helped you to move to a certain stage where at least now you saw the light? Because I can just explain it a little bit. When you are in depression, it feels like you're in your own space. No one understands you. I never saw the light. I went and I lost everything.
Okay.
Jam Early ended. It was a time for it to end. Chacha ended. They wanted different characters, because it was an ongoing story. And I lost my job on Generations.
Okay.
Then I had to move back home. Not because I wanted to, because I couldn't afford to live where I was living. That's when it hit me that all those people that were around, they were all gone. They would call and say, hey man, I'm at your gates. open the gate. I'm like, no, I'm at home. Oh, so you told me open the gate? No, I'm at home.
Yeah.
Home.
Yeah.
Like, in the hood.
Yeah.
I'll call you back.
And
that's
gone.
it. And I had gone back to what people in the hood looked up to me for. And it felt like I'd failed.
Yeah.
And I'm the one that brings, I'm the breadwinner at home. And now the breadwinner is here. Nothing is happening.
Yeah.
That was when, that was the low of my life.
Okay.
And I think I prayed a lot, and my mom was there, God was there, but that's when I met the woman that was going to be my wife.
Okay. And
she was an angel. She came and accepted me for the broken person that I was. Okay. Because I told her everything. I mean, it's a very weird thing when uzoshela umuntu for the first time and you say,
yeah,
I don't know, I just came to you, but I just know that I'm not working. And
yeah.
She was like, what's wrong with this man?
Yeah.
But I just didn't know it came out.
Okay.
And one of the first days that I'd met her, I think the first day that I'd met her, I told her that. And but there was a connection, and she was in my life for a reason. So that's why I say sometimes that's when you let go and you don't look. Sometimes we don't want to look for help, but then help comes to you when you're like
comes
enough.
To you. Yeah.
So for me that was, and I think she didn't let me run away from the problems. She made me face them. But then she made me also realize that you do have the power in you to face. She said, "There's nothing I can help you with that if you don't want the help, there's nothing I can."
Yeah. Would I be correct though if I say that was one of the first times when you had real human contact?
True.
Someone who appreciates you and sees you for who you really are at that stage.
Wow, yeah, actually, now that you put it like that. Yes, because she saw me.
Yeah.
People were just seeing the Siphiwe, the Zamani, the DJ, all the characters that I'd acted. Bash and all of that, but she saw the Siphiwe. And the fact that she fell in love with that Siphiwe, and I fell in love with her, but she still pushed that I cannot help you if you don't help yourself.
How did that feel though? Because this is something that has been lacking for a very long time in your space in this media industry. And people have just been celebrating this person that's been seen on TV. And for the first time, in your lowest state, someone comes in and loves you for who you are. How did that feel?
Yeah, it was... it was out of this world. It was a feeling that I can't really... I mean, it was a feeling of... I felt like I'd found myself. It was a feeling of euphoria. I think also she made me also see that my family has been helping me. I just haven't been accepting the help.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when things went bad, my father was the first one to say, "What's the car and daughter?"
Yeah.
Sorry, because when you're at home, people don't know what's happening.
Of course. Yeah.
So I think because of that and the fact that she helped somebody who needed the help and who wanted to be helped, and I think I allowed her into my space, into everything.
Yes.
I will never forget the words when she says, "I can't do anything that you can't do. It's all in you."
Yeah.
And I believed in myself again.
Okay.
And then I went back and things started happening again.
Yeah, sure. We'll go on a break right now and come back. Siphiwe is going to share with us if he did actually go through depression and how he handled it. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is still Inside Out with myself, Mpumi Mpama. I'm with Mr. Mtshali. And at the end of the show, we have an explosive performance from Knights. So stay with us. But right now, it's that time for the viewers to call in for winning airtime. Call the number on your screen and we'll announce the winners later, but here are the questions. Question number 1. Who is our special guest today? Question number 1. Who is our special guest today? Question number 2. Mention which channel is Inside Out showing. Question number 2. Mention which channel Inside Out is showing. So we've got a prize to give out. So just make sure that you call the number on the screen right now to make sure that you stand a chance to win the prize that we've just mentioned. We're going to go ahead and continue with Mr. Mtshali here. When was your hardest time in this industry? You told us that you lost your job and you went back home. And there was a time also when you were still in the industry. I want you to compare these two. There was a time when you were in the industry, but you were lonely. You did mention that you were not alone, you were lonely. That time and your lowest in your life going back home, which one was the toughest one for you?
I think the toughest time, you see, the one of going home was, I could see it. I was there. There was nothing I could do.
Yeah.
But with, I think the lowest in terms of in my heart
yes.
was when I was surrounded by people, but I was screaming and no one was hearing me, and I was surrounded by people, but I felt like I was suffocating because I was not alone, but I was lonely. Like it was.
Yeah.
I think that it was so tough for me that I feel I could have changed things then if I had dealt with that.
Yeah.
Because that one, when I was already at home, there was nothing I could do.
Yeah.
So I think my hardest one was when I was in the game, but out of the game.
Yeah. In your own words, what is depression?
I'd say because when it was happening to me, I didn't know what depression was. For me, it was that feeling of sadness around people around yourself, losing yourself in yourself, or losing yourself in the situation that you're in.
Yeah.
I think depression is when you are there, but you're not there.
You're not there.
You know?
Yeah.
We see you're there, and you can, and it's not like something that you can say, okay, if I do 1, 2, 3, I'll be fine. You are lost in it.
Yeah.
You know, I think for me, in my words, I'd say that's depression.
Yeah. Are men immune to depression, you think?
Not at all. And I think the sad thing is that we're under the impression that we are.
Okay.
We need to deal with that.
Yeah.
Because I think men are the most depressed people because of the way we don't talk.
Yeah.
And we're under the impression that we don't have people to talk to. We don't need to talk.
Yeah.
This is the prior. I'll sort it out. I'll sort it out. I'll sort it out.
Yes.
You know, all these I'll sort it out. When they're not sorted, they'll sort you out.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Sure. Have you had your own share of depression?
Yeah, you know.
I know you mentioned
now
it, but
I will tell you one thing. Mama. Yeah, for me, this show of yours. I've never had to deal with it like this, but yeah,
you have.
I've had depression. I just didn't know that I could say it out loud like that.
Yeah. But tell us more, though. You had your own share of depression.
Yeah.
Tell us more. I know you said you didn't know that it was depression. You just felt sad. Since we have just spoken about it, and you see connecting the dots, that actually it was depression.
Yeah.
How did you deal with it in a negative way? And how did you deal with it in a positive way?
I think in a negative way was when I shut everybody out, and like I say, there was a lot of suicidal thoughts, which when I look back now and think things could have been, certain things that I put myself through could have been avoided.
Yeah.
There was a dark time in my life that I'm still even scared to talk about or go to now. But I allowed certain situations that I'd found myself in, and it was that time I had to go through that. I had to go through it then.
Yeah.
But now when I look at it, especially now that you're making me look at it, it's a scary place to be in.
Yeah.
It's a place I wouldn't want to wish for it for anyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, now I think positive now, but now I've got this bright lights in my life. My children, I have to live.
Yes.
I have to live for. I've got reasons to live now.
Yeah.
I've got my wife, I've got my marriage, I've got my kids, and I've got to live for myself too.
That's right.
You know, because we put so I put so much on my career, on my television, on my status that when all of that was gone, I realized I put way too much into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I feel good when I help other people. When I can I know now that success does not lie in never falling, but rising each time you fall.
That's right.
I think now that positivity in my mind and in my heart, there still comes those times. Like I say, with emotions, depression is an emotion. You don't just go past that, you go through it. You have to go through the emotions. But now, with the show, like with the company that we have with my business partners, my wife, like with the Ziggy Media, we're pushing, helping people through what we've gone, what I've gone through, what we've gone through, but also by knowing that in life you can be positive. Yeah. And just, it's a journey that we need to allow ourselves to walk.
Yes.
I don't want to go back there.
Yeah.
But like I say, I'm really living for my children and living for my wife, but I'm living for myself too. Yeah. And that's where we forget. We always want to put everything on other people. Yes. And then when they let you down, what happens? Yes. What do you have?
What do you have?
What do you have?
Yeah.
So I really, like I say, helping people makes me very happy. And also I just want to be a better man for myself.
Are you past now the stage of depression?
Yeah, no, I'd say, look, I want to be very honest here.
Yeah.
I don't think that I can answer that question absolutely honest without, because like I say, I don't know what's still happening, but I know for a fact that the space I'm in right now, it's not even close to me. Okay. Because I'm dealing with new projects. I'm busying myself, and inside I'm happy, you know. Yes. I'm happy. I'm happy in my marriage. I'm happy with my children. I'm scared of the situation that we're in terms of Corona and all of that.
Yes, of course.
I'm cautious now of certain situations that I get myself into. Yes. But I don't think that there's a way of. It's inevitable. If it's meant to happen, it will happen. But I don't think that it's something that I'm thinking about. Yeah. I don't see myself falling back into it because I know I don't want to. But life throws curveballs. That's why I believe in that. Okay. Success does not lie in never falling, but rising each time you fall. Yeah. We have to fight it. Okay. It's life.
Yeah. Okay. As Inside Out, we say that if it hurts, talk about it. If it frustrates, talk about it. And definitely, if it depresses, talk about it. It's resolving it from the inside out. That's what happens when you talk about these things. And it gives an opportunity to remove the mask that people are wearing out there and be your true self. Would you agree with this?
I do.
Yeah.
A mask gets hot after a long time.
Yeah.
It burns.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really agree with what you guys say on the show.
Mr. Mtshali, thank you very much for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Your views when it comes to depression and what you've gone through. And thank you very much for joining us today. I'm sure our viewers have had a great time listening to you talking and they've learned a lot. And all the best in going forward, the projects that you have in helping people, but more especially in making yourself number one priority. Yeah,
true. Thank you. I don't know how much I owe you for this because I have to pay my psychologist. And there it is. I didn't know that this show could do this. I'm glad. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. Now, that's it for today. Just make sure that you join us next week as we tackle issues from the inside out. After the break, we have a performance by Knights. But before we go there, I think we have the winners of the competition that we were talking about. And then we will announce who they are. But that will happen after the break. So we will congratulate them. So after the break, just stay tuned. We'll announce who won the prize that we were talking about. And then we get that explosive performance to close off the show. Stay tuned.
Yo, Lil Mac, you tryna smoke?
Yeah. If you see me off screen, please don't approach like you know me.
You don't know me.
And just cause you know me, this didn't make me your homie.
Not my homie.
I'm sorry you can't see the vision, I'm begging to pick like Adobe.
Like a
See that
zombie.
you stuck on your 4G. Don't rise to me just cause I'm lucky. Only see me on the telly, but now they wanna tell me how to act. If you rate me on the internet, how you gon' claim not the facts? If I never wrote back to you, or never took note of your petty ass, why you still squealing at the back? I see you still trying to please the pack. Watch how you talk to me, I'm not celebrity, I'm just a prophecy. Permanently shifting the space like a odyssey. Honestly, I don't think nothing can challenge me. I'm not a rapper though, this shit is poetry. More than an artist, I'm known for the lower beings. Hopefully hoping I know they don't notice me.
Fuck, I know you ain't wishing me luck. Nah, Picasso when I get to brushing that side by Corona, he more than your gut. Yeah, from the jump, I had a cut. I see how you move when I'm stuck. I stick to the script when I cover your comments. I'm hard with the line, I'm the plug.
Not even nothing can faze me like how you back up your hate speech. Hasty. The drip in the flow is not wavy. My time ain't question of lately. Daily. Like a rock in a river, y'all settle for less. Or anyone known as a blesser. While actively changing the place and for acting, I'm holding the moment like acting. If you see me off screen, please don't approach like you know me.
You don't know me.
And just cause you know me, this didn't make me your homie.
Not my homie.
I'm sorry you can't see the vision, I'm begging to pick like Adobe.
Like a
See that
zombie.
you stuck on your 4G. Don't rise to me just cause I'm lucky. Only see me on the telly, but now they wanna tell me how to act. If you rate me on the internet, how you gon' claim not the facts? If I never wrote back to you or never took note of your petty ass, why you still squealing at the back? I see you still trying to please the pack.